and it just really speaks to me.
Yeah, this was a great share in this.
Thank you again for that reminder, and it is so powerful, the surrender um, to what is, to being in that moment. And so over to you, Rex. Thank you.
Yeah, this was a great share and it's a great conversation. I haven't heard all of it, but I've heard enough from both you, Sandra, and from Melissa to be enjoying and to be uplifted and edified by it. I would add, every blog is not the complete discourse on the topic. It's a slice of something like a slice of pie. It's only one piece. It's so focused in one area. The ultimate form of control is surrender. The ultimate gaining your power back is to surrender, to let go, to release, and to allow and to celebrate everything. But that said, here's the interesting thing about most people. Most people try to do things. They try to affect their circumstances and their situation and other people, and they try to gain control over those elements. And that is where we make the mistake because all of these elements, all of our conversations, all of our circumstances, all of our events that happen in life are really just part of a fiction. They're an hallucination. If you accept the premise that you are divine and you are part of the cosmos of consciousness and when I say part, I don't mean apart from, I mean a part of. You are as much God as God is God. You're just living this illusion in a human body and having a human experience, and that's all fantastic, that's all wonderful, that is part of it. That's why the Hindus call it Maya, or an illusion. They call it Leela, they call it the play, the dance of life, of consciousness. And for us to understand that means that surrendering to what is the ultimate form of control. It means the ultimate form of going back to your godliness or to your divinity and understanding that everything is perfect as it is. But that said, as humans, what people do is they try to affect their circumstances instead of operating from within to without. They try to control the without so that they feel better within. And that's the deception, and that's the illusion, and that's the hallucination that we all tend to have, is that if we transform our circumstances, or if we get others to understand where we're coming from, or do what we say, or stop doing what they're doing, or if we can do that to ourselves, then everything will be fine and we will be better off. And what all of consciousness appears to be about is it's the absolute other way around. When you get it right from within, everything on the outside becomes right. Now that doesn't mean that earthquakes start happening. It means that you navigate the circumstances differently because you do it with a form of awareness and consciousness that you would not otherwise have. So that said, imagine that you're, you know, uh, yesterday I did a podcast with Kellen and Fisher, and a beautiful time, had a wonderful time. And afterwards, she went to Niagara Falls, and I said, "Well, go enjoy the falls. Of course, just don't go in them." But if you were in the water on the way to the falls in a raft, and you had to do something, I would bet that for the most part you would try and control where you are in the water. You would try to steer your way to the coast or to the sides, so that you could get out and be safe. Some people surrender and go over the falls, and they transition into other areas of existence or not. But the point is that, if you're in the rapids and you're in a canoe or a boat or on a raft and it's going somewhere and you want to go the other way, you're totally entitled to try and go the other way. Going with the flow doesn't mean you can't steer the boat. Going against the flow would mean you're trying to paddle upstream. It's the same thing with, and what control is about is not stopping stuff. It's not damming up the water. It's redirecting the water towards those areas that of or those avenues where we are um, closer to our authentic purpose as opposed to away from our authentic purpose. So surrender is beautiful and wonderful because you're surrendering to what is. But if you do something to control what is, that's also what is. That is what's happening. So what's ever happening in the moment is what's happening in the moment. That means whether you're trying to assert yourself or trying to release yourself, that's what's happening. And learning how to celebrate that is the opportunity that we all have, being conscious beings, on the planet. it's similar to saying, well, there's a forest fire and it's coming toward my house, but I'm not going to do anything to try and save my house. I'm just going to let the fire burn however it burns. That's not really surrender. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it can be. You can say, well, it doesn't matter if my house burns up or not, because it's just a house. But you wouldn't say the same thing probably if your family were in it. You as a human being having a human experience, you can do whatever positive or take whatever positive steps it takes in order to save your family. You, if you didn't save your family, then the question becomes is how do you accept that outcome? Probably it's best to surrender to it than to try and fight it into, but grieving is part of life. And so to surrender to grieving or to grief is also something that is possible, but you don't want to live in grief for your entire rest of your human experience. So we ought to understand that there are things that we can do and perhaps should do in some cases. And that's why this blog is about controlling your thoughts. It's about controlling the mechanisms that's either causing pain or allowing you to have a beautiful experience. If you don't control your thoughts, and that doesn't mean I'm not talking about surrender now. I'm saying if you don't control your thoughts will control you. They will run on and on and on the way they are. Now, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is the experience of understanding that you are not your thoughts. I mean, this is just one definition that I'm going to express. But it's understanding that you're not your thoughts. It's being able to watch those thoughts without those thoughts taking their toll on you, on your experience, whether it's happy or sad or angry or otherwise. What happens with people is they identify with their self-talk as if their self-talk is real, and that self-talk is anchored, or we're anchored to the self-talk, so that as these thoughts occur, it's not just a thought. I mean, it's energy, but it's also electrochemical responses and reactions in the body that are doing that. So someone thinks a particular thought, and they get horny. I mean, that's what happens. You see an image in your head, or you're feeling, or scent, or something, and you're aroused. And you could be aroused sexually or angrily. You can be enthused or eager. You can be aroused in sadness or any number of things because thoughts produce a result in how we feel and how we react to the thought. Enlightenment is the awareness or the experience of watching those thoughts as if you would watch leaves on a river. They just go by. You don't own the leaves. You don't identify with the leaves. You don't pull the leaves out and go, this is my leaf and that's not my leaf. You don't get angry with the leaves. You don't get happy with it. You're just noticing. It's like looking at the clouds in the sky. They're separate from you and they're going past, in the sky, but they have nothing to do with you. And so gaining control of our thoughts is an aspect of saying, if you're not enlightened, and my argument would be we're all enlightened, you just don't, most people don't know it. It's kind of like when you're sleeping, you don't realize you're sleeping, and then you wake up and go, oh, I must have fallen asleep at such and such an hour. People who are not awake yet don't know that they're not awake. It's that saying, if you're dead, you don't know that you're not dead, and if you're stupid, you don't know that you're stupid, kind of thing. Um, so the point is that you have an opportunity to wake up and recognize that thoughts are just thoughts. It's a form of energy and it doesn't have to control you, and you can direct them if you choose to, in the same way that an enlightened person could drive a car. You can, and here's how I will point this out. An enlightened person stuck in traffic isn't an issue. That's where you are, and this is why I always say that traffic is a wonderful meditation for us, because you can't go any further than the traffic is in front of you. If it's stopped, there you are. What are you going to do about it? You have a choice: relax, surrender, let go, release, allow, enjoy the moment for what it is, because you're not going to get anywhere else. Or you can pound the steering wheel, jump up and down, and scream and yell, and talk about the meeting that you're going to miss because you're thinking of all the things that could go wrong. So an enlightened person in traffic that's stuck surrenders, or they surrender to the flow of traffic. If it's moving fast, if it's moving slow, whatever it might be, they surrender. But they're still driving their car. They're steering their car to where they want to go. So understand that you have control, and then you also have surrender, and that both of those are very, very important to our experience, and how we exemplify them are incredible. So it's beautiful to go with the flow. That's the what life is all about, is to be able to go with the flow. That's whether it's flowing good or flowing not so good, whether it's flowing strong or flowing weak, whether it's positive or not so positive. If you can celebrate everything, then your life becomes a celebration. If you only celebrate part of it, well, then the part that's a celebration is good, but the part that isn't that good. So here's the question: what are you willing to do to make your life a total celebration? And what can we do to make our life a total celebration? And then do that, so that you can actually celebrate everything. And with that, I pass the mic.
Thank you. Wow. That is whew, profound, exceptional, just truth. So let's do this. I want to thank Nasli. Thanks, Nasli, for coming. That's acknowledge that whether you're here with us now or you're listening to the replay, go back and listen to the replay. Take this amazing opportunity to really just sit in that moment and reflect. Where are you in this moment about enlightenment? What are you taking away from this exceptional blog post today? What is that new action that you can then move your life forward to live in full amazement, the beauty of this moment? So I'm going to open it up to the panel. Let's do popcorn style. Rex, ask the question. Paul, jump on in.
Yeah, I said this probably earlier. I'll repeat it now. It's that simple line from the rap number: check yourself before you wreck yourself. Make sure you know what's going on within, inside you. What are you holding? What are you carrying? What are you believing? Because if something outside doesn't feel right, go back inside and check what you've got, what you're carrying. And if something
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful. I love listening to you, Melissa.
I want to thank you for that, and I want to
With Rex Sikes. So always my delight, always my greatest gratitude to be of service on the weekends when I'm able to be here and to celebrate with all of you. So I'm going to, yes, please, Rex.
I want to thank you for that, and I want to two kind of announcements. One is a follow up on what you just said about the book. I encourage people to get gifts for their friends. This is the holiday season. Hanukkah has been upon us. Christmas is coming, Kwanzaa, New Year's. Um, I say buy a case of books. Give them to your friends, your family, the people important to you, your coworkers. Employers can buy them for the people that work for them, and then give them out. But you can also donate them to libraries. You can donate them to hospitals and other places where people could use these books to transform their lives. Now, the cynical person will say, "Well, yeah, you say that because you're going to make money off of it." I won't. You could buy 100,000 cases of books, and it wouldn't add that much money to my pocket. It would add some, obviously, but what I'm saying is the way that the Amazon structure is, the amount of profits you get off a book aren't they're not going to make you rich. And, certainly they could if it was a New York Times bestseller and you had a publisher and things. But the way this is operating is it's not about the money; it's about who can be touched by the book. And that said, a book does nothing. You can put a hammer on a table and it won't build a house or tear it down. It won't do anything until a person picks it up and uses it. So a book is an opportunity to apply what's in the book. But if someone doesn't know what's in the book, they don't have the opportunity to apply it. So that's their introduction. So if they're important people to you in your life, get a couple books, get 5, get 10, whatever you can, afford to do, and share them, especially during the holiday season when this is a time for some people where mindset truly matters, and where people feel disconnected or they feel alone and they don't feel you know valued in society. um, don't just give them a book and send them on their way, but unless that's all you can do. But you know develop the relationship, connect, go, hey, this helped me, I'd like it to help you, and then discuss it. Be a mentor or a guide or a coach or a brother or a sister or someone of value for that person, and you'll help people around the world. The other announcement is simply that on Twitter, because I hate the word X. I just think that was the worst name you could have ever called something, because, people talk about their ex spouse, their ex job, and X is typically a has been, so Twitter has become X, the X Twitter. But at any rate, we're putting up a lot of the videos and audios, the podcasts and different things over the last few days of different talks that I've done all over the place, whether they're audio only or video, and but there's scores of them going up, every few minutes or every hour or something like that. So if you want to follow me on Twitter or on X, please do. You can share. You can benefit by watching the different videos or listening to different audios, as well as blog posts and things like that. But there's a lot of different ones going up that you may or may not have ever seen, and that you might enjoy seeing. There's even a couple that are just dedicated to my work in the movie business, if that you like. Some of them are my interviews with guests or friends of mine, but most of them are me talking about transformation and how you can transform in different pieces and different slices and different aspects of our transformational journey. And so I announce that and encourage you to do that. The other thing is, I'm not aware of what's going on with this platform. When I come here and I want to invite people, it allows me to invite like 3 people. And so I scroll through all the people who've been on Twitter to other people who, you know, I don't know if they're on or not, to try and invite some people. And I don't. It's not like the old days where you invite somebody and they show up very much. So I don't know what's happening, but I encourage you to invite people and to have them come join us here for as long as we're on Clubhouse, and having these discussions. Let's make it so that more people can join us and benefit, and not just benefit from hearing us, but we can benefit from hearing from them. And because it is a two-way street, so let's grow this room, however we can grow it, by continuing to share it. And I really appreciate you share, Sandra, because I heard you say, let's grow the room, or I don't know if they pull the refresh anymore or what, but if every so often you encourage people to share, that's fantastic, because unless we remind people, sometimes we don't remember. And with that said, I will pass the mic. Wish everybody a happy, beautiful rest of the day and a coming week, and happy holidays, however you celebrate or don't celebrate. And thank you for being here.
Well, I'll address
Is awesome.
the within, the
In gratitude.
And I would add simply,
Yeah, Becky Norwood.
everybody, you've been fabulous, fantastic, because.
well, I'll address
Is awesome.
the within, the inside.
In gratitude for
And I would add,
the boundaries every day in joy and love and hope. So, yay for that. So, thank you and have a wonderful always.
And I would add simply, thank you. And Paul, that's a beautiful idea. I too fill those, when I have books in my car, and I usually keep some in my trunk, and I drive past one of those things, and if I can stop, I stop or go back and put them in those libraries. So that's, those neighborhood libraries is such a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so many people try to change their outer world. So many people want money, and they invest in programs about how to make money and how to do this and how to, and I would only say that's fine, but unless you get the inside right, the outside won't matter much. Instead of investing in a program that tries to alter your circumstances, invest in a program that alters yourself. Then invest in the program for your circumstances. You got to get it right. It's the horse comes before the cart, and so many people try and do the cart before the horse. It's an inside job. When the inside is right and you're feeling prosperous and abundant and on top of the world, then everything else falls into place. It begins with attitude. It begins with your thinking. It begins with who you are, not what you do and not what you have. And this is such an important message, especially in this day and age, because people are trying to affect circumstances. If you look around, I mean, let me make a political statement for a moment. One, I disagree that we have any leaders. Maybe the president's considered a leader because he's a commander in chief, but other than that, or she would be, other than that, we have representative form of government. But here's the thing: one of the reasons why we are where we are is not because of what they do in Congress or what they do in the Senate. It's because who is in Congress and who is in the Senate. It's who the people are that determine what gets done and what doesn't get done and what you have and what you don't have. So if you want the world to change, you need people who want the world to change in a positive way, who want to benefit other people. You can't have, bad people in government and expect good outcomes. And you can have good people in government and get better outcomes, or you can get bad outcomes. But the point is, it's who is representing us that truly matters. It's who you are that determines what you will do and ultimately get what you have, the results of your efforts. But they come from who you are. And how do you become the person you want to be? It's as what every thought guru has said from the dawn of written time. Your thoughts determine who you are. You become what you think about. So what you think about is what you bring about. And what you bring about is based on what you've been thinking. So there's no escaping the fact that if you want positive change, you have to become a positive person for whom change is possible. If you live with restrictions and you live with doubt and fear, and anger and hostility and all that stuff, you're never going to get the kinds of things that you could get if you were to release those and emphasize the other. That's why the song accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, you know, and because two forms of matter can't occupy the same space. Who you are first, within to without, within to without, within to without. Focus on the within, focus on the within, focus on the within. That's why my book, Life on Your Terms, is first a book about you. I have a Life on Your Terms for business and for stuff, but the point is, it's about you. That's the first order of change. Anyway, and that's the first order of acceptance. That's the first order of value. That's the first order of power. That's the first order of existence is you, because if you're not on the planet doesn't exist for you, and you don't exist for it. So if you want to help change it around you and in this experience of life, you're the first order. You're the first thing. You are the one who has to change. And it doesn't work any other way. Horse before the cart. The horse pulls the cart. Think about that for a second. Okay, with that, everybody, you've been fabulous. I love you all. I appreciate you all, Paul, Sandra, Deanna, and others who come and go. Thank you so much for being here and for your service and all that you do and all the contributions you make to all the people around you. Thank you for those known and those unknown contributions that you make. And by the way, Sandra, when is your book coming out?
Oh, thank you. We are going to launch April 2nd, 2024. So we have our publisher now.
Yay.
Yeah, Becky Norwood. And she was actually a referral from one of my good friends, Gail, who is an amazing publisher. And Sujata, Dr. Sujata Eyes, really appreciates Becky and she gets her. So it's a really nice synergistic way. But I'm reaching out to all of you for pre-reads. If I can, ask from my heart to your hearts, I'll reach out to you, not the right space on Clubhouse to ask, but I will reach out to all of you
Oh,
to
that's
be
cool. That's
involved.
very cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, absolutely, absolutely. Please do. And keep us posted.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, by the way, if anyone wants some musical accompaniment to today's theme, maybe you've heard of the group The Beatles. Maybe you've heard
Who
of the
are they?
albums. Yeah, exactly. The Beatles. And look for the song George Harrison did called Within You, Without You.
Uh,
See, the one that goes, we were talking about the space between. Well, the line goes, try to realize it's all within yourself. No one else can make you change. And to see you're really only very small and life flows on within you and without you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that.
What an amazing, amazing day. I just love it. I love, love, love. This is
Woohoo!
beautiful community that celebrate everything. We're rolling, we're growing, and let's just share this wonderful message. I'm loving it. Love, love, love. So thank you, Rex and Paul. Why don't you fully take us up and out? Woo! It's awesome.
Come on, Deanna, let's count this sucker up from 8
All right.
to
8,
9 to
9,
10
10,
to 11.
11. Celebrate everything. Bye bye.